What's up, guys? Welcome back to another great episode of Your Fantasy Shots. I'm your host tonight, Dan Theory at Theory BFF. I'm here to bring you guys your weekly waiver wire ads. Just some guys you should be looking to pick up going into the bye week this week or into the bye weeks going forward. You can see behind me at Nick Sparks with the Z on the S is watching the Twins game. So go Twins. Him and I are obviously from Minnesota, so we're pretty big Minnesota sports fans. Twins look to be losing 7-4 right now, though, so not looking too great there. Other co-host is Chris Hopper at Hot BFF with 2 P's. I'm just going to jump into the ads. So for quarterbacks, we got 2 here, like I normally do. Deshaun Watson's a big one here, 29.6% owned. He had 5 total touchdowns last week. He completely beasted it. He doesn't have the greatest matchup against the Chiefs, but because he's a running quarterback that's already had a couple rushing touchdowns this year, he has safe floor. His offense has gotten better with Will Fuller coming back, and Watson has shown the progression, a lot more progression than a lot of us expected in this offense, and he has become a viable weekly starter, or at least a weekly streamer, to the point where if you pick him up, I wouldn't drop him in 10 teams or in 12 teams or less. My other ad is Sam Bradford if he plays. He's only at 20.7%. He's on track to play. They feel confident that he's going to play this week. They need him back after losing Dalvin Cook. With a torn ACL for the season, he does play the Bears Monday night. So if you do pick him up, you do at least have some time to wait and see. We've all seen how great Bradford can be in this offense when healthy, even without Cook, as he's shown last year, and an improved offensive line. A couple deeper league stashes, at least pick up, is Jacoby Brissett at 2.9%, and the same quarterback he's played on the opposite side, and Brian Hoyer at 2.5%. This should be. It probably won't mirror the LA Rams and 49ers game of a couple Thursday nights games ago, but 2 decently bad defenses, 2 offenses that can get it going against bad defenses. Hoyer with Kyle Shanahan has been okay. And then Jacoby Brissett, a lot like Watson, is safe because of his rushing yards and his rushing ability, and the fact that he can score a touchdown at any given time, which is what you want from a deeper league stash. I actually had picked him up at a 16-team listener league that I have going with you guys. I did pick him up, and I'm rolling him out this week as, like I said, good matchup. Moving on to running backs, a couple of these guys should be added. Some of them may already been added. Wendell Smallwood and Kamara are both owned, and Smallwood's owned in 47.2%. Kamara's owned in 42.5%. Kamara's on his bye week, so people may not wait to pick him up. I expect him to be gone in the majority of leagues, but if he's still there, pick him up after what we saw last week, though losing their right tackle, I believe, for the season does not help even more, as they're still missing their left tackle. I'll get that into the new section of this. Wendell Smallwood should have already been picked up, as I said, 47.2%. I don't expect him to be available in most leagues, even though it's this low, but he's still below 50, and he still should be added. Next is Andre Ellington, 29.9%. We saw what I expected since David Johnson's been hurt, that he is the safest back to own, and he should be owned. Chris Johnson sucks. Kerr Williams sucks. They didn't bring anybody else in to compete. It's Andre Ellington. They're going to continue to throw the football because no one in this running game has stepped up to take it over. So expect Ellington to maybe not give you the rushing yards, but he gives you the floor with his receiving ability. So PPR leagues, he is a must-add. And then the combination of these 3 Seattle running backs, as it looks now, on Thomas Rawls, Eddie Lacy, and CJ Prosise. Rawls 30.2%, Lacy 28.3%, and Prosise 25.7%. It looks like Rawls is going to be the one that starts right away, but Lacy was a factor last week when Rawls was a healthy scratch. Prosise is still battling his injury. We'll talk about the 4th running back, the guy that I would prefer to own, which is J.D. McKissick. He's owned in less than 0.1%. This guy is pick-upable. He's going to be not the heaviest of names because he got his work because of Prosise, but he looked better than Lacy. Obviously, he did a lot of his work at the end of the game after Chris Carson got hurt, but he was still in the game. I'm still really bitter about the whole Chris Carson injury. He didn't need to be in there, but regardless, McKissick is a deeper league stash guy, a guy that you guys should be looking to pick up. And if you have the roster spot, as he could end up being the new Chris Carson and taking the spot over. But again, the Seattle running back core is a fucking mess. If I had to own any of the main three guys, it is Procise. It would be Procise, but with his injury concerns, I would lean towards Rawls as well. Next is the Minnesota Vikings replacements for Delvin Cook and Latavius Murray at 17.1% and Jaren McKinnon at 2.7%. Murray's going to get to start. Murray got majority of the running touches. If not, he got all the running touches after Cook went down. I still like McKinnon more in terms of safeness and PPR role. He was in for pass protection during the game last week against the Lions after Cook got hurt. But it looks to be Murray's going to get the majority of the carries, and McKinnon will probably see passing work and third down roles. It looks, I may say that I prefer McKinnon because I think you can even potentially get him after waivers go through if people buy all in on Murray. But Murray will probably get the start. They don't have the best matchup against the Bears, and because Murray's getting the start, Murray's probably the guy to get this week. But you can maybe even wait to get McKinnon. Like I said, it's not the best of this. It's just not the best look right now, being that Murray wasn't really effective against the Lions when he got in. But right now it looks to be Murray will start. Just a couple more here. Wayne Gallman at 0.8%. He is the best looking running back in this Giants backfield. He was somewhat effective after Paul Perkins went out. He got passing down work. I think he had a receiving touchdown, which was his touchdown. Shane Vereen only saw 2 targets. Wayne Gallman, though the show was low on him, and I was as well. He was effective with Clemson. It's just he always did enough to help this team, and he's looked like the best back. And not only does he look like the best back, he is their most complete back in this backfield right now. Orleans Darkwa is hurt. Doesn't do much anyways when he's healthy. Paul Perkins has been absolutely abysmal. When he has played, he can barely make a cow miss in an open field at this point. So I look towards Wayne Gallman. I expect his number to rise by at least 10 to 15% and be higher, maybe upwards close to 20 to 25%. If he's there after waivers go through, I would definitely pick him up and stash him, as this is a good offense that's just earning for a running back to start producing, and I think they may have found their guy. Next is Aaron Jones. This is strictly if Ty Montgomery doesn't go. I expect him to not go. Even if he does, I expect him to not get to see very limited work. So if you need a 1 week or 2 week fill-in, Jones could be that guy. Next would be Alex Collins out of Baltimore. He has taken over the Terrence West role. Does have 2 fumble losses on 25 carries, so the team itself is behind. Alex Collins and getting this actually fixed. So pick him up, though Buck Allen is still the safer back and probably the starter, even though Collins has looked better the last couple of weeks. One more guy in, and that's Elijah McGuire with the Jets. If Matt Forte doesn't go, or if he has to continue to miss weeks, McGuire is and has done some things. He had a good week last week against Cleveland on some botch plays. So in deep leagues, he's worth a stash. Moving on to receivers, John Brown at 38.7%, and then John Brown at 9.8%. Either way, both Browns have proved to be effective in good matchups. John Brown should be owned when he's healthy just because of his ability to take off the top. And then you've seen him get fed work even with the healthy fits last year. And with the Cardinals, I have in David Johnson. They have to throw the football, and John Brown is a very talented receiver. And John Brown just seems to get targeted, even with healthy fits, even with a healthy John Brown. He got targeted last week. And like I said, with the Cardinals having to throw, he is always a good deep stash find. And if John Brown gets hurt again, John Brown is even better to own, and then would bring in J.J. Nelson. Next would be Tyler Lockett at 27.9% and Paul Richardson at 10.7%. Tyler Lockett has positioned himself as the wide receiver 2 in this offense. He gets the underneath work. And with the Seattle offense now without Chris Carson for the season, it's back to figuring out who the running back is. They're going to have to be throwing a little bit more. Tyler Lockett also got snaps out of the backfield, which, again, makes him effective. He's got great hands for a guy his size, and like John Brown, when he's healthy, does get targeted and can be effective. He doesn't have the upside as John Brown, but he does have a similar floor. Paul Richardson, with it hurt, Tyler Lockett was the number 2. He's kind of seen his targets drop, but he's been effective with his targets, which is what you're asking for. When they get down to the red zone, he tends to be a guy that Russell Wilson does look for. Next would be Devin Funchess at 24.8%. Look, without Greg Olsen, this Panthers team is starving for a new number 2 target. Funchess may be terrible at catching the football, but he was fantastic last week against this really, really bad New England secondary. So I don't expect him to have those type of games going forward. But with Cam now healthy, or at least getting healthier, and with them opening up their playbook and letting him run a little bit more, which should help Funchess see less work. And then it only gets better if Kelvin Benjamin gets hurt. Devin Funchess, the hype train is starting to roll again. Definitely pick him back up. Then next is Josh Doctson at 16% owned. Josh Doctson has looked to maybe taking over that number 2 role. He is hurt right now, but they're on bye week, so hopefully he has time to get healthy. He seems to be a little more favored, and as the 3 of us talked about it in our episode tonight, Josh Doctson actually helps throw Pryor and vice versa because they both kind of will run those deep vertical routes. It'll help to kind of not seeing coverage get shifted over to either side as both receivers are starting to gain that chemistry with Kirk Cousins. I like Josh Doctson as a stash. I don't see him getting picked up this week because he's on a bye week. So if you can, afford a receiver, or like if you can afford a bench stash even for a receiver, I think Josh Doctson is worth that add. Lastly is Geronimo Allison for the Packers at 3.1%. Look, if Devonta Adams is going to miss time and he doesn't get to go this week, Allison's almost a must-add. With an injured Cobb, he was a beast 2 weeks ago. Last week, when Adams went out, Allison had himself a nice game. He gets targeted. She's starting to get trusted by Aaron Rodgers. And if they're going to have injuries, if they're going to have issues with this receiving core with injuries going forward, which is, I know it's hard to predict, it's still a great find. Just like Josh Doctson, if you have the ability to stash a receiver, this is a guy you want to stash. So the next, moving on to tight ends, is something terrible happened as Nick is making noises over there. And I can kind of see in the background that we got hose on a play. We'll move on to tight ends real quick just to wrap this up. Austin Severian-Jackson's at 8.3%. He's gotten 10 targets in 2 games. The Jets' offense isn't as bad as we thought it was, especially their passing offense, and with McCown healthy and just the shit show of tight ends that we've seen this year. ASJ is not a bad find. It's not a bad pickup. You're trying to lean on a guy like Hunter Henry or Eric Ebron or Julius Thomas, guys that just haven't got it going, and you maybe lost out on getting Charles Clay on free agency. You're looking for a tight end that you can finally fucking trust. And guys like Kobe Fleener and Austin Hooper are on a bye week, just like with Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis for Washington. He's not a bad pickup, even for this week, and even just beyond. He had 4 targets in week 3 when he came back. He had 6 targets last week. He's a guy that could have an effect going forward, and he's been battling for that second to third target spot on this Jets offense that, yes, has been good and has been avoiding garbage time, but they haven't played great teams. Miami sucks, and Cleveland we don't even need to talk about. As a deep league stash or deep league find, Tyler Kroft for the Bengals has been beasting without Tyler Eifert in the lineup. If Eifert is not healthy and doesn't get to play throw out Tyler Kroft. Even then, I think even if Tyler Eifert comes back, Kroft could even have some value. This team has been starving for a second target in this offense. John Ross, hasn't been healthy. Tyler Boyd has been a bust almost. Brandon LaFell can't catch anything if he tried. Kroft has been the guy that's been going to. He had 2 touchdowns last week. He is who Andy Dalton's been targeting outside of AJ Green. Pick him up now, and because we know how fragile Eifert is at this point. He's a guy that you should be owning. If Eifert does come back and play, yes, he could be droppable again, depending on how the offense looks. But we've seen teams have success rolling out 2 tight ends. I can see the Redskins doing that with Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed. You see it with the Patriots from years past. And just because this team needs people and needs receivers that can step up and play. Kroft's been doing that. That's all I got for that's all I got for ads. I'm going to add in one note just based on the Zeke news and the fact that it could be coming down at some point this week. Be prepared to add Alfred Morris. He's owned in less than 9% of leagues. He will probably be the main handcuff over McFadden. If Zeke is to miss time, he won't be back until week 12 because he has to start the bye week plus the 6 games in his suspension right before most of this postseason shit starts. So if you do own Zeke, this is a big shout out if you own Zeke. Pick up Morris, pick up McFadden, be prepared to lose one of them. The fact that you drafted Zeke to even have him be suspended for the first 6 weeks, for 7 weeks, he's been playing. Maybe you dropped some of those guys that you drafted to be his backup. You have to be prepared because this could happen. Again, that's all I got. I'm going to be dropping the news episode here shortly after this one. Again, I'm Dan Theory at Theory BFF. You can follow the show on iTunes, Beerfield Fantasy Football. Please like, subscribe, leave comments, let us know how we're doing. You can find us on Twitter at BeerfieldFF. Leave us comments at us, ask us questions, starts, sits, anything you guys have. We'll be as helpful as we can possibly be, whether it be the show that you added at us or one of us individually. We'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace.